Hello, McKenna here at Carolina Raptor Center. Thank you for joining us again for our avian home adventures. Today I have with me Bob, our barred owl, and we're enjoying some sunshine on this beautiful day. Now Bob here is one of our ambassador birds that we take to schools and community centers and different festivals so we can show off how amazing her species can be. Now Bob gets the barred owl name, from the barring that is on her chest and on her stomach. The pattern on her feathers kind of look like bars or stripes, so that's how they get their name, barred owl. A lot of the times it's confused with barn owl, who live in barns, but these guys are bards. They're one of the most common types of owls that you can find in North Carolina, and oftentimes people can hear them hooting in their very own backyards. As you can see, her feathers blend in really well with the tree that is behind her. Owls have amazing camouflage, and that's really important because these guys like to hide during the daytime, and so they like to blend in with trees and pretend they are one with the tree so nobody can find them, especially predators. These guys don't have a whole lot of predators out in the wild, mostly bigger owls. In the raptor world, big raptors will eat little raptors, and owls are no exception. Good. So the only type of owl in this area that might try and eat bards would be the great horned owls. And we showed off one of our great horned owls a couple days ago. So if you didn't have a chance to check out that video, feel free to go back in our video so you can see the difference between bards and barn. Good. Now Bob has been doing this for about 20 years now. She is 24 years old, and that's really old for an owl, but as you can see, she's full of spunk and lots of personality, and her age doesn't hold her back at all.
Is Bob a girl or a boy?
Is Bob a girl or a boy? Good question. So Bob is a girl. When we first decided to see if she'd make a good candidate to be an ambassador species, we judged her gender by her size. Barred owls and owls in general, you can only really tell the difference between boys and girls is by their size. In the raptor world, girls are bigger than boys. So Bob is actually small for a barred owl, and so we assumed that she was a male. But then after being with us for a little bit, Bob laid an egg, and only girls lay eggs, so the name just kind of stuck with her. It really fits her goofy personality. Now it's really important for females to be larger than males because the females stay on the nest when they're raising their babies. So females need to be big in order to protect the babies and that nest from predators. Now even though males are smaller, they are actually more agile and better hunters and can catch more types of prey. Good. Now Bob has been doing this, like I said, for 20 years. So when she thinks she deserves a treat, she's gonna let me know by doing some of the body behaviors that you see her doing. She knows if she's sitting well, she gets a treat for that. Today, her treats are Mises pieces or pieces of mouse. And she loves her some Mises pieces. Good. Now if you guys notice, she has some really strong talons, right? And those are really important for perching like she is now so she doesn't fall off the branch. But it's also really important to catch her food, while she is hunting out in the wild. These guys have really strong talons, and they have feathers that go all the way down their toes. Owls are one of the only raptors that have those feathers that go all the way down their toes. Most other raptors have bare legs and bare toes. She is enjoying that sun. She's like, that feels really nice on my back. Good. One of the things you might notice about her too while looking at her beautiful face are those eyeballs. She has some beautiful dark colored eyes. Now, not all owls have dark colored eyes. That actually indicates the time of day that she likes to hunt. So since barred owl eyes are dark, almost black, that tells us she likes to hunt in the middle of the night when it's the blackest out. Other owls, such as our spectacled owl that you can find on our trail, have bright yellow eyes. And that tells us she's more of a crepuscular bird, which simply means she likes to hunt during dusk and dawn hours. Her eyes here are also really big. They take up about 75% of their skull. So that doesn't really leave a whole lot of room left for that brain, right? Owls are known to be all-knowing and super wise, but that's actually not the case. These guys aren't the most intelligent of birds, and that is just fine. These guys are super successful being sneaky hunters rather than intelligent hunters. Our most intelligent birds are going to be the crows and the ravens, and they use their intelligence to catch their food, whereas owls use their stealth to find their food, and they're both very successful. Owls have almost completely silent flight, and they use that to their advantage in order to catch their food and sneak up on those mice that are running around on the ground at night.
What would a barred owl eat in the wild?
What would these guys eat in the wild? They really eat rodents mostly. With these guys too, if they live near a wetland, they'll also try and catch frogs and salamanders, but they mostly enjoy those rodents. These guys are really good to have in your backyards because they can eat a lot of rodents. A family of owls can eat almost 12 mice a night. So you definitely want these guys in your backyards if you have a rodent problem. They're actually more efficient than using rodenticides. Rodenticides don't actually kill the mice or the rats right away, and they're still running around outside. And then if an owl catches a mouse or a rat with the rodenticides, not only is the rat sick, but the owls get sick as well. So if you want to get rid of the rodents that are running around in your backyard, we suggest putting up an owl box and making your yard owl friendly so you can have a great nighttime neighbor.
Do they sound different than the great horned?
Do they sound different than the great horned? Yes. So in your guys' backyards, you may hear the hoot that sounds like, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" And that's going to be these guys. These guys have a very distinctive hoot. That hoot can be territorial. These guys like to have their own territories, their own hunting grounds, and they don't like to share with other owls. So they will let all other owls in the area know that this is their hunting grounds. At night, our barred owls all start hooting as the sun starts going down to let the wild barred owls know that this is their hunting ground. She is enjoying that sunshine. It is springtime at last, and everyone is enjoying the warm weather. You guys might also notice how round her face is. The roundness of her face is something called a facial disc, and most owls have that. And that facial disc acts kind of like a satellite to bring in sound towards her ears to make it louder. Owls have amazing hearing. She could hear a mouse running under 3 feet of snow. She can follow that mouse, dive down in the snow, and catch that mouse without even seeing it. So amazing, amazing hearing. Good. Which is really important when you're hunting at night. It's a little bit harder to see, even though she has those big eyeballs. And so she mainly uses her eyes to make sure she doesn't fly into any trees. And she uses her amazing hearing to find her food and follow her food.
How much does she weigh?
How much does she weigh? That is an excellent question. So she weighs about 1.5 pounds. And that may be shocking to some of you, right? She looks like a really big bird, a really solid bird, but she has between 2,000 and 4,000 feathers on her body. So she is a lot of fluff. She also has hollow bones, so she can be light, so she can fly. Birds in general tend not to weigh a whole lot because they need to fly and they need to be able to get off the ground. So she only weighs about 1.5 pounds. In the winter time, she weighs closer to 2 pounds, but that's okay. We need to make sure that these guys, when it gets cold out, can put on that extra weight So we always increase their diets in the wintertime to put on that extra winter weight. Good. Now, as she's eating, you may notice she closes her eyes, and she actually has a third eyelid that goes side to side. When raptors eat, they tend to close their eyes just in case their food might be fighting back. Now here they don't have that problem. Good. But in the wild, their prey items have teeth and claws that might be fighting back. So they close their two eyelids, their top and their bottom, and then they have that clear one. I don't know if you guys noticed that blue that goes side to side, and that's called the nictitating membrane. And that also protects her eyes from anything that might be trying to fight back.
Does she have any owlets?
Does she have any owlets? So she does not. She does lay eggs every year because that's what her body and her hormones are telling her. It's springtime, it's time to lay eggs, but she does not have a mate. And so the eggs are not fertile. We keep them in with her until her body tells her that it's like time to done sitting on those eggs, and then we'll pull those empty eggs from her. We don't raise any babies here. We don't really need to. Sometimes it happens, and that's okay, but we don't have any breeding permits, and so we don't like to breed them. A lot of the times too, these birds have really healthy populations out in the wild, so we don't need to breed them. Instead, they're here to be education ambassadors and focus on showing off how cool their species are. As you can see, she's moving her head a lot. She's doing something called triangulating, and she's using her ears to kind of figure out all the different sounds that are going on around us. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us here today. We really appreciate you guys listening in and watching these videos. We miss doing these programs for everyone in person, and so this is the next best thing. Tune in with us again tomorrow at 11 o'clock to see what we have next. Have a good day, guys.